Welcome back to Data Center News Asia. James, I tried to put my foot down the other week and said we weren't going any earlier in the morning, but you've booked an antisocial flight time, and you know me, I'm not a rise and shiner.
Well, yeah, you need plenty of time getting the kids to the airport, as you may discover in the future. So, yeah, hence the slightly earlier than usual recording.
You're continuing to sell the virtues of parenthood, James. I love it. Um, all right. Well, this week we've got a few big stories to go over. There's a monster new campus from AirTrunk. We've got a sustainability-linked loan for ESR. There's a couple of little features in Jakarta. And then we've got quite a few financial stories, including let's see what we think of this continued AI hype, this time from Blackstone at the end.
Yeah, a lot to go through. Where are we starting?
Well, friend of the show, we'll start with AirTrunk.
Yeah, so this is just developments on their SID3 campus. So this is the monster one out in West Sydney. I think total IT load once fully built out 320 megawatts. This has been like this campus or this development isn't particularly new. I think it was announced initially in 2021, but they are now progressing through the planning phases, and which is difficult. Obviously, in Sydney, there's a lot of opportunities for people to lodge complaints and that sort of stuff. But it's not been through the exhibition stage, which is basically where people come in, take a look at plans, and on the back of that, potentially lodge complaints. So it's making progress. Making progress here.
Do we know geographically? DCD, I noticed, have put a picture of SID2 up, and there's an Amazon campus that was announced nearby in West Sydney. But do we know geographically where these are in relation to each other?
Yeah, so it's 30 kilometers west of Sydney. We have it on the DCY platform, Reece. So I give you permission to take a screenshot and take some of the info from there. But it's an interesting one. Just some of the numbers was pretty amazing behind this. So a couple of the highlights that I pulled out was not one but two substations. Usually having one substation is a big deal, but they've got 216 gen sets, and 2,592 lithium-ion batteries. So there you go.
Wow. Well, from the background, it sounds like your son is not a fan of lithium-ion batteries, but I know he's a big sustainability fan, and so he'll be pleased that ESR have secured this sustainability-linked loan in Hong Kong. $205 million. This is for. We've already reported on the Hong Kong project, the building in Kwai Chung, I think. But it's a brownfield project, and interestingly, got a sustainability-linked loan for this. It's often more difficult for these brownfield projects in built-up areas to satisfy the criteria.
Yeah, that is true. Like, this is the old a cold storage building, which, as you mentioned, is transforming from a brownfield into a data center. 2025 completion. But basically, what happens with these sustainability-linked loans is when they hit certain pre-agreed to parameters or metrics, then the interest rate goes lower. So it kind of gives them an incentive to be as efficient or as eco-friendly as possible. Credit Agricole, SMBC, and UOB were the banks mentioned as part of this. So we've seen quite a few of these sustainability-linked loans around the region now. So I think we're probably going to be seeing them increase in prevalence over the next couple of years.
Yes, and so it looks like they got some sort of deal with CLP Power, which is one of the bigger Hong Kong-based independent power producer and developer of renewables as well. And this is the building that this is going to be a 40 megawatt data center when it's completed, I believe.
That was what was initially mentioned in the article I read most recently. It said 21.3. So need to clarify that.
Let's
the feed or something.
Let's get Dermot on to answer these tough questions.
Yes, we probably should clarify this before, but anyway, good news from the ESR side.
Excellent. We do love a good sustainability story. And in Jakarta, we have. I saw it on LinkedIn earlier this week. I see that Edge DC, which is the digital edge brand locally, has topped out their facility, but I can't find the article this morning, James, to tell me which facility it is.
Yes, it's their Edge 2 facility. So they've got their Edge 1 facility, which is the facility like pretty much next door to the cyber building in Jakarta, which I took a look around last year. Edge 2 is pretty close by. Actually, I'm looking at the platform DC-wide as we speak. It's kind of like a couple of kilometers away, 3 kilometers away in total, I think. We've got a brand new photo up of it. I'm not sure where this has come from, but it was uploaded 2 days ago. But yeah, it's like I said, it's still very central Jakarta. This is obviously a pretty big landmark, getting to the topping out stage pretty quickly as well. I have to say, especially when you consider it is central Jakarta, not always the most difficult place to build. But yeah, it looks like it's progressing well. Topping off ceremony is obviously significant landmark, and yeah, once complete and fully built out, this is 23 megawatts of new capacity in pretty central Jakarta.
Excellent. I managed to find the picture of the topping out ceremony here. I'll get some of these up on the screen. Pac Toto in a lovely batik shirt, and some of the the digital edge team as well. Excellent progress. The other story that I had in Jakarta this week, James, was there's a new joint venture being established, which is from global internet exchanges operator DE-CIX, which I think is a competitor to companies like AMSIX, and this is bringing a new distributed internet exchange to Jakarta. Now, I am not. I'm not an expert on what distributed internet exchanges are and how they operate compared to other internet exchange products like Equinix's IBX. But from the story I was seeing, this one, it's going to be connecting to the internet exchange ecosystem they already have in Singapore, KL, JB, Manila, and Brunei. So this will be adding Jakarta into yet another layer of connectivity, which, as we know, this often drives local enterprise demand for more colo space.
Yeah, not much I can add to that, Reese.
Well, maybe you can add a bit to this one in India on the financial news. So BlackRock and Jio have launched an asset management platform in India. They specify that this is going to be targeting digital infrastructure business. Obviously, Jio, as we reported last week in their joint Reliance Jio, which is one of their brands, is part of this partnership with Brookfield and Digital Realty, and they are one of the biggest carriers in India. So, strong local telco company, and they put $300 million together.
Yeah, well, again, not a huge amount I can add to that, Reese. I think you've captured all of the salient points there. But other, like just while we're talking on the financial news and kind of touching on India. The Blackstone news was also pretty interesting, where their property fund has gone from being the biggest buyer of property globally to now being the biggest seller. So in the last, I think it was 12 months, sold $10 billion, with the aim to recycle apparently $8 billion of this into data centers. So Blackstone have been busy in the last kind of 2 years acquiring QTS, about 2 years ago now. And mostly focusing on the States, and also announcing Lumina, again, probably around this time last year, or maybe 9 or so months ago. Lumina obviously having that, aiming to have a big presence, well, regionally, but first of all, starting off with that big Navi Mumbai campus. So, yeah, I don't think the money from these kind of institutional investors is slowing down anytime soon.
No, absolutely. I think they did in the statement. They mentioned the AI arms race, which they believe is a once in a generation opportunity for investment. I would imagine that a sum of money like this was planned before the AI hype wave, and this is probably a good bit of PR to launch it. But yeah, Blackstone certainly seem committed into the space. Not to forget, of course, that I believe they still have a stake in Sky Development in Japan, even after the recent transaction for that site in Osaka. So Blackstone fully committed to data centers worldwide. So let's see what they Well, let's see what more we see from Sky and Lumina in Asia.
Yep, absolutely.
There was one in Japan as well. This is another financial news story. James, you mentioned Toyota have been selling the shares that they had in KDDI. I think the last time we reported on KDDI was them acquiring a Canadian data center company. So some shuffling of the books here.
Yeah, so Toyota are, well, certainly were, I think still are the third largest shareholder in KDDI, but they sold down a stake worth about 1.8 billion. I believe KDDI wasn't kind of clear from the article I read, but I think it sounds like KDDI will be buying back these shares. So yeah, Toyota want to use that to kind of continue to further their progress with the electric vehicles piece. And KDDI uses it as a good opportunity to get some of their stock back at a slightly reduced rate. I think it was 8.7% down on their stock market price when the deal was struck. Interesting. These two have got a fairly long-standing relationship and have been involved in projects like the connected car piece, where obviously Toyota building the cars and KDDI are providing the internet infrastructure to support this kind of thing. So yeah, I expect to see more from them in the future. But just like I said, good opportunity for Toyota to get a bit of capital and KDDI to get shares bought back at a favorable price.
Yep, absolutely. Well, there you go. Some shuffling of many million yens.
Yes. I didn't even bother trying to capture the animation.
Excellent. Well, I think on that note, James, we can let you rush off and get your
The
flight.
pleasures
It sounds like
of
the
bringing two
background noise.
toddlers through an airport.
Yeah, well, it sounds like the background noise has calmed down, so you might have timed the news just right to evade the storm.
Well, I actually think the background noise was more my wife and sister-in-law getting very excited about the trip themselves. So, yeah, a lot of cackling going on, which I'm sure the viewers could pick up on.
Well, hopefully they don't watch the news to the end, otherwise you'll be in some serious trouble.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, Reese, enjoy your weekend.